I'm waiting for you.
Good evening and welcome along to NUFC Matters with me, Steve Wraith, and my special guest tonight, Francisco Hernandi Lima da Silva, Mirandinha. How are you, Mira?
Hi, Steve. How are you, my friend, and all the Newcastle fans? My pleasure to have a chance to speak with you again.
Great to have you on, Mira. How did the move to Newcastle happen?
Sorry?
How did the move to Newcastle happen?
I see sometimes the news about Newcastle. I really excited to see the new changes inside the club.
Yeah. Can you still hear us, Mira?
Sorry?
Can you still hear us?
Yes, I hear you.
Okay. I'm gonna move on to the questions from some of the fans. Tom Dixon asked me a question. He says, how did you adapt to the football in England?
I know the time was when I was there. I was so excited and so happy because of the English football. You know, it's a very, very competitive game, and I really appreciate that.
Phil Perrin says, who did you learn the most English from?
Sorry?
Phil Perrin says, who did you get the most English from? Who did you learn the most English from in Newcastle?
I learned a lot about football, about the life, about the culture. You know, Newcastle was so important for me on my life, on my career as a player, as a coach now, because I really learned so much from English people who gave me a very, very warm support there. I'm so glad for that.
Who taught you English, Mirandinha?
Sorry?
Who taught you how to speak English? Was it Gazza?
It was Gazza. Gazza started the first, teaching me the first words. Gazza and David McCreary. Big lad, David McCreary.
Gazza and David McCreary taught you English, yeah? Did Gazza teach you?
Yeah, Gazza, he was fantastic for me as a player, as a friend, you know, and as a teacher as well.
Did he teach you any bad words, Mira? Did he teach you any swear words?
Always the bad words.
Always the bad words.
Bad boy.
Gazza was a bad boy.
But bad boy, but as a person, he was fantastic with me. As a friend, as a colleague in the team, I really miss him so much.
Where did you live when you lived over here, Mira? Steve B, Black and White Blood, says, did Gazza get you to buy a house in Dunstan?
Oh yes, he gave me some ideas for me to buy a house in Dunstan Bank near to his house. Only because he every day passed to my house to eat arroz, feijão, Brazilian beans, and steak pork.
Right. Okay. Anthony Lewins says, can you remember the shot that you hit against the Liverpool at St James's Park, which hit the bar? Can you remember that shot against Liverpool which hit the bar?
Oh, I remember. That week was so difficult for me because Mr. Jimmy Smith showed during the week I will not to play, but in the last minute he put me in the field, and I make a brilliant shot from the outside the penalty area. The ball hit the post in the left post and the right post, and come in the hand for Steve Bruce or Bruce Grobola.
Yeah.
It was fantastic, brilliant ball.
What was your first impressions of Newcastle? Did you like the city?
When I came there, I was so happy with the town, with the people, because I feel something special in Newcastle, with the fans, with the town, the people around me. It was fantastic on my life.
Noel Pecker, he says, do you remember kicking Dave Besant, the goalkeeper, up the backside after the 5th round FA Cup defeat? Do you remember kicking Dave Besant?
Yes, I remember. I was very angry because I have some challenge with Tony Anderton and Dave and stupid, crazy Vinnie Jones. And I was very, very angry, and the game's finished. I kicked Dave Besant from the back, but in the year after, he came to my partner in Newcastle, and we forget everything, no problem.
Very good. Christian says, what were you thinking when you celebrated at Liverpool after scoring the winning goal?
The penalty kick?
Yes. What was in your mind?
Oh, Steve, I was, so emotional because I remember the goal was in the end of the game. When I scored, I went to Liverpool fans, and they gave to me a very warm care in that time. Even I played for the opposite team, and it for me was so grateful because you cannot see this kind of comportment in the other countries, even in Brazil as well. I was so glad to live in that time, and for me it was fantastic to have that situation.
Paul Emerson said, what did you think when Newcastle came to sign you? Had you heard of Newcastle before?
Only on the television and the Brazilian newspapers. In that time, I was everything okay for me to go to America from Mexico. I agreed the contract with America from Mexico. In the end of the week, I received the confirmation from Newcastle, and straight away I changed my mind, my idea, and I agree with to sign for Newcastle because for me it was not only as a football player, as a contract, as a money, but the opportunity to be the first Brazilian to play in England. It make the difference in that time.
Was Malcolm MacDonald involved in the transfer, Mirror?
Yes, Malcolm he started the conversations with Newcastle, and he put his sign on me, and I was so happy for that, and I have a very, very friendship with Mal, one of the best striker in the English football and European football. I hope he will well now, and I just say thanks very much to Mal for the opportunity to me come to Newcastle and play for the club.
What was it like playing at St James's Park?
Oh, St James's Park have something special. St. James's Park, one of the best stadiums in Europe now, and the atmosphere is so high with the fans. When you go to the field for the warming up, you feel something special in that moment. I I really appreciate the atmosphere in St. James's Park.
Carmen Terriers, he says, what football boots did you used to wear? He has a pair of boots at home, which he was told were your boots. He said they are Puma Spar Kings. Did you used to wear them?
Yeah, I had some problem because when I went to Newcastle, I signed with the boots high tech shoes. In that time, the high tech boots, it wasn't very good. I tried to change the stripe from high tech for one tiger from Japan because of the field always wet, and it's difficult sometimes for running, for moving, and I had to make the change, only the stripe from high tech to from high tech to a boots from Japan. It was the situation that time.
Ian Burns, he says, can you remember words? Can you remember the words?
Sorry?
Can you remember the words to the song that the fans used to sing about you?
Oh yes, I never forgot.
Can you sing it?
I can sing, no problem.
Can you sing it?
Yeah.
Go on.
Yes. We've got Mirandinha. He's not from Argentina. He's from Brazil and the fucking Brio.
Brilliant, Mira. Brilliant. That's made my night. Just talk about Joelinton, who is Newcastle's number 9 at this moment in time. Did you know much about Joelinton?
Steve, I was very surprised when Newcastle signed Joelinton because in Brazil he was very normal player when he was here. When he left Brazil and go to Germany, he started to score some couple of goals. But I never agree about this situation because I know he will be. It will be difficult for him to play for Newcastle when Newcastle have strikers like Malcolm McDonald, Alan Shearer, the Peter Beasley, so many good strikers, Faustino Asprilla, Mirandinha. It's very hard for any player from Brazil, from everywhere to wear this number 9 for Newcastle. This is so difficult. I hope he have a chance to make some goals for Newcastle because we need to have one striker to put the ball inside the net.
Yeah, he struggled a lot this season, Mira. He hasn't scored many goals. He's only scored 2 goals in the Premier League. He seems a very lazy player.
Yeah, I saw some games for Newcastle. The first game he scored from the first game after he stopped completely. So difficult for any striker who play for a team like Newcastle United, big club, big fan, big support. If you don't score for 2-3 goals, you come in nightmare. It was the problem for Joelinton. I hope Newcastle bring one top striker to help the team to take good results.
Magpie Football, he says, what did you say to John Anderson on your first day at the football club?
John Anderson, he's fantastic boy. I played against him against Ireland for Brazil in that time. he was so hard in the challenge against me. When I came to Newcastle, I said to him, you are so strong. Why you kick me like that? But after that, he came to good friend for me and for my family. I really miss all the players who play against me, with me. Sorry, like Michael O'Neill. Now today, he's one of the best coaches in the UK. You know, Darren Jackson. Sometimes I remember the fight in between Darren Jackson and Michael O'Neill in Sweden, where we take the pre-season trainings there. We put them in the ring for them to fight. That time it was so funny because Darren Jackson hit the Mike face sometimes, and Mike came very heavy head face. It was fantastic. I miss them so much.
Good stuff. Can you remember much about the other strikers who were there, Frank Pingle and Rob MacDonald?
Oh yes, two big lads, two strong players, but no have the same quality for Paul Goddard, for some other strikers I play with. But they was good lads with me, and we made good friendship. So one day I went to with Newcastle. We went to Sweden to see the one friendly game against Brazil and Sweden. I went to the stadium. I meet Frank Pingo there. He was so. It was so funny because a lot of people outside the stadium. When I walked to the gate, I met him I saw him in the line, and I said, "Oh, what you are doing here, my friend?" So yeah, I come to see Brazil. I said, "Okay, come with me," and we stayed together and saw the game together.
Who do you think was the best striker to play alongside you when you were at Newcastle? Who did you enjoy playing with the most?
Paul Goddard. Paul Goddard was the best striker I play with in Newcastle. John Hobson from Scotland, quite well, but the best striker I play with, Paul Goddard.
Paul Goddard, yeah. I mean, he was a legend, wasn't he? He kept Newcastle up one season, didn't he? With he scored, I think it was something like 7 goals in a row, and did very well. But yeah, he was a great servant to the club, Paul Goddard. We've got another question here from Dave Watson. He says, "What was the big argument that you had with Paul Gascoigne at Newcastle? Apparently, you mentioned it in an interview once."
Gaza, as I said before, he was fantastic person on my stay in Newcastle. One day we have a little fight because he wants the ball from me. I try to finish the ball by myself. He was very angry with me, and I said to him, guys, stop that, guys. I can't do without any problem. Forget the situation. Forget the ball. And he said, "Mira, you fucking stupid boy. Why you don't pass to me?" But always we have this kind of situation inside the games. But he was, as I said before, he was one of the best friends I made in football. I think I sent you one picture. The team, my favorite team for top 11. I mentioned Gazza and Glenn Hodd, my captain. That's why I have this kind of care with Gazza. I always put him on my prayers for him to be okay. on his health situation. I hope one day I have a chance to meet him again.
That's lovely words, Mirror. Lovely words. Did you always think that he would go on to be the best footballer in the world that he was in 1990?
Yes, he was. For me, in the Italian World Cup 1919, I really think he was, for me, the best player in that tournament, and because he makes something extra and different from the other players on his position.
Gareth Mason says, what advice would you give Joelinton at Newcastle?
Sorry?
What advice would you give Joelinton at Newcastle? What advice could you give him?
I can't hear well, Steve.
Okay, Joelinton, the centre forward at Newcastle, what advice would you give him?
Okay. I think there is more for him to be settled down, for him to fight more in the games, because he has some good qualities as a striker. He has potential shoot. He's a strong boy. He must be change his style of game, because English football is so different from the other countries in Europe, in South America as well. I hope he makes some change on his private life, give more importance for the club, because when the player takes a settle down in the club, he must change. He must give his 100% for the team. Even sometimes, even you don't play well, if you don't score in goals, but if the fans see your interest in the game, in the play for the club, the fans sometimes help the player to change the situation. But if he continue like he is now, difficult for him to stay with Newcastle United.
Gareth also asks, what is the favourite match that you played for Newcastle?
I have one game. I was so glad and so excited. The game against Manchester United, I scored twice, one by penalty kick and one free kick, and another one by header in the far post. For me, this was one of the best games, because in that game I make two balls through the through the legs for Brian Hobbs, one of my favorite players in the world. In that time, this game was so excited for me.
What was your favourite goal for Newcastle, Mirror?
Okay, I think the goal I scored against Everton in St. James's Park. I saved the ball to Neil McDonald in the right side. Neil put the ball for the goal line, make the cross, and I make the goal by header. Very high ball. I go for the ball. That was, for me, my favorite goal for Newcastle.
Spinflint and Toon Truth both ask, what was it like living in Fordon next to the metro station? You used to get pestered by people every night. What are your favourite memories from that time? So when you lived in Fordon, what was it like, Mirror?
I was, I was very close to the town. My family had a very nice time there, very close to the downtown. But the best moment on my stay in Newcastle was at Eldon Square. Sorry.
Yeah.
Eldon Square. when I turned the Christmas lights on, it was for me the best moment on all my life, not only football, in private life as well.
Fantastic. Toon Truth also says, is it true that Gazza taught you to say, nice to meet you, fuck off, when you had to perform an opening ceremony at Tesco's?
Yes, he said to me like that. I another day he went to my house, and he said to me, Mira, I will go give one small dog. I said, okay, give to me for my daughter. And he bring one cock spaniel dog, uh, lady, and he said the name is Gaza. I said, no, you cannot put the name for Gaza. Gaza, you are not lady, you are man. No problem, no problem. Put the name for the dog Gaza. I said, no, I will change. No, Gaza. And I remember Fat Jim, the friend number one for Gaza.
Jimmy Gardner.
And I said, okay. The name for the dog can be Belly.
5 bellies.
And he was so smiling that time, because I remember from Jimmy, fat Jimmy, his brother, his friend.
Critical Thinking says, who is your favorite all-time Brazilian football player?
For me, my favorite player in Brazil for all the times, Zico. Zico for me was number one.
Zico, great player. Do you still watch Newcastle now, Mira?
Oh, every game for Newcastle, I stay in front on television, and I really appreciate Newcastle. I'm a fan for Newcastle. I hope Newcastle come back in the old times and fight more for good results and good positions in the Premier League.
What's your views on Mike Ashley?
Steve, I hear so many bad news from him, bad articles from him. I think if Newcastle continue with Sir John Hall in the past, Newcastle have a much better time than what he have now. And I hope the new change, the new chairman, give the support for the manager, for the coach, for the players as well, for Newcastle to come be bigger as he is.
Yeah, Jordy ND, thank you for that question. If the new owner takes over, Mira, do you think Steve Bruce should stay on as manager?
Steve, I like very much Steve Bruce. I think Newcastle United, any coach in charge in the club, any manager, if the club give the support for him to buy new good players, to sign the right players, and give support for the coach, any coach can be successful for Newcastle, because Newcastle have what the others don't have, big support. The fans love the club in Europe, in England, everywhere. Newcastle have the best support in the world. I think the most important now, the new president, the new administration give to the coach, any coach, Steve or Rafa or any other one in coming in the club, they must give support for the coach to buy good players and the right players.
Okay, Gavin asking, what are your thoughts on the takeover? What do you think the new owners should do first at the club? What do you think they need to do?
I think the new owner must be, uh, you know, attention for the people who come to the club. They must bring people who have a Newcastle blood inside them. You know, like for example, I think the right time for the club to bring Kevin Keegan inside, to bring Alan Shearer in the club, people who knows the fans, who the fans know them. You know, I think the most important now, Newcastle must have people who love the club. This is my opinion.
What are your views, what are your memories, sorry, of the young Geordie players, Lee Clark and Alan Thompson and Steve Watson and Steve Howie? Can you remember them? Any memories of them?
Oh yes, yes, all of them. But the number one for me was Lee Clark, because you know, when I was in Newcastle, when I arrived there, he was my apprentice. I I I have a very good friendship with him, and it's still until now. And for me, one of the best young talents Newcastle had after Gazza. For me, Lee Clark was fantastic.
Was he a good apprentice? Did he clean your boots properly?
Yes, he cleaned my boots. He you after my gears, my everything I use in the trainings, always in the right place, in the right conditions. He was fantastic as a apprentice for me.
Very good. Nick asks, has Mirandinha still got the white jacket that he wore when he came onto the pitch when he signed for the football club?
Sorry?
Have you still got the white jacket when you signed for Newcastle? The white jacket.
Oh yes, white jacket. No, I finished this one. Too old like me. Too old now. I cannot use more.
What are your memories? What are your memories of Willie McFall?
Oh, my gaffer Willie.
Yes.
My first party when I went to Newcastle, uh, I made one barbecue on my house, and I make for the people come to my house at the time. Mr. Willie, his wife, his daughter, his son, all the family, all the players from Newcastle, and I made Brazilian feijoada. And I made one drink we had here in Brazil, caipirinha. This is lemon, sugar, and tequila. I made and really like very much this drink. But the problem, because he take 3 or 4 glasses. After that, he lying down in the sofa and sleep and going home the next day. It was so funny because his wife, I don't remember her name, his wife and his son and his daughter, they said, okay, Mira, leave dad here. Tomorrow we bring him back home. It was fantastic.
What about Jim Smith, Mira? Did he ever throw any teacups around in the dressing room?
No, Mr. Smith, he was, I think because of his age in that time, he has different opinion, different from me. Uh, Sometimes he think I am lazy in the trainings. One day he said to me, I have to be more confident in the field, take more attention in trainings. But in the end, I was so glad to him because he gave me a chance to play some games, to score some goals for Newcastle. the rest is come by past. I don't remember anything. The wrong situation I had with him. I I really appreciate him, and now he's in the with God, and I sometimes I remember his attitudes. I don't have anything against.
Screwface asks, what do you remember about your debut in English football? Newcastle United were playing Norwich away. Lee went down to the game as well. Can you remember that?
Yes, I remember the first game in Norwich. I had one free kick. We had one free kick from past the halfway line, and I said to Gazza, I will take from here. I came and I put the ball in the fans outside behind the goal, and all the players laughed on my face. But it was so fun, I remember my first game against Norwich.
Yes. Lee remembers you grabbing the ball at every free kick. You were shooting on sight from everywhere. He just thought it was
Yeah.
a debut.
Yeah.
Mark Spurs said, Mirror, you used to buy pig's hearts from my dad's butcher shop in the Granger Market. What I would like to know is that why you left Newcastle?
It was only for fun. Only for fun.
Oh, okay. With regards to leaving Newcastle, what was your feelings about leaving Newcastle?
Steve, it was the worst moment on my life as a football player, because I really making a big mistake in that time for two reasons. The first one, I love Newcastle. I have the intention to come back to Newcastle, because in that time Sir John Howe just take over the club. He liked me so much, and I went to Palmeiras and I said to them, look, I want to come back to Newcastle because I have a one and a half a year contract left. I want to back there. I create some situation for them to let me go back to Newcastle. But one day, uh, I play the last game for Palmeiras, and I scored 4 goals in the game against the Rio de Janeiro select team. And after the game, they put a lot of pressure on me, and I decided to stay in Brazil because I'm looking for to play the World Cup in Italy in 1919. And after that, when the World Cup finished and I didn't play there, I was so unhappy with myself because I lose the great chance to be in Newcastle until today, because I know Sir John Howe, he will give me with Kiga new contract in that time for me to stay there for long. And this was my big mistake on all my career as a football player, because I leave a chance to be the hero for Newcastle for a long time.
When Newcastle were relegated, why do you think Newcastle were relegated?
I think because the club makes so many changes. I remember we had Paul Goddard, Neil McDonald, a lot of good players. When Newcastle leave the players, left the club and bring old players inside the club with Mr. Jimmy Smith. I 100% sure this was the big mistake for Newcastle in that time, because Newcastle never, for me, never add the team to play outside the Premier League. Newcastle must be in the Premier League for all the years and forever.
What was it like playing and scoring for Brazil against England at Wembley?
It was fantastic, you know, because that game was my first game for the Brazilian national top team. I was on the bench for that game. I remember because we had Miller and Careca. I was in training with them, and I know if Careca go for England in that tournament, I will be in the bench. When Careca sign with Napoli and need to leave the squad, I take more power from the coach, Mr. Carlos Alberto Silva. It for me was the best moment on my time with the national team because I never played before for the top team. In my first game for the top team, he scored a goal at Wembley against England. You know, the team for England, fantastic team, you know, in that time, the team who played the World Cup in Mexico in '86. I was so glad to God to give me a chance to play against England, against Tony Adams, against Peter Beasley, Gary Lineker, Terry Butcher, Peter Shilton, you know, monsters for English football. It was fantastic for me.
Mira, what are your favourite memories of your time at Newcastle?
I think I have two great memories, two great moments in Newcastle. The first one was when I arrived in Newcastle and was received by the fans, the big moment in my life. The second one, I had my daughter Sarah. She was born in Newcastle, and it for me was fantastic because until today I know I have something an special from Newcastle. You know, my daughter she's a doctor today, and have his proper life, and it was one of the best moments I had in Newcastle.
What are you doing nowadays, Mira? What do you do with yourself now?
Now I still work as a football coach. Last year I finished my license A from CBF from Brazil. I start to prepare myself to finish the pro license for me to be ready to go to everywhere in the world. And just wait for some chance, some opportunities. Now I don't have a club now. I just work with young kids on my project here in Itu, where I am now. Itu, the same place have Ituano Club who sell the Martinelli to Arsenal, and in the same town. I work with with one friend who asked me for help for me to prepare some young boys. This is what I do now.
Are there any young Brazilian footballers that Newcastle should be looking at?
Brazil always have so many good players. I have now, for example, one young boy who play for Palmeiras. He's from Bolivia, the captain for under 17 for Bolivia, and he played so many games for Palmeiras last season for the under 17 here in São Paulo. This boy I'm looking for him for a long time. Since he come here to Brazil, he played for Palmeiras, my favorite club in Brazil. I went to see some games for him. I hope one day this boy have a chance to go to play for Newcastle United.
Would you like to come back to Newcastle in some capacity, Mirror, one day?
My real dream is one day to come back to Newcastle or work for Newcastle everywhere in the world to prepare young players. This is what I have as a dream on my professional career as a football coach. I hope one day I take a chance to be involved in any project with Newcastle United. This is what I'm looking for.
Have you any message for the Newcastle fans who are in Newcastle now, Mirror? Just any special message from yourself?
Yes, Steve. First of all, I'd like to say many thanks to you for the opportunity to be in this conversation with you, with Newcastle fans. I really love Newcastle. This is not only from the mouth. This is from the heart. I really like Newcastle. My sons, Hernandes and Diego, they love Newcastle. They follow Newcastle from all the news. I hope one day I have a chance to come back to do something special for the club who gave me a chance to be the first Brazilian to play in the Premier League. It's for me, go with me to the rest of my life. And this is the most important for me, to have 100% the confidence. Newcastle was for me the best club I play on my life as a football player.
Well, Mirror, there's been a lot of lovely comments and a lot of love and respect for you from Newcastle fans who have been tweeting in their questions tonight. Thank you for answering them all. And I'll tell you from somebody who used to watch you, Mirror, you were a hero. You were a hero of mine, and I've got a lot of respect for you, mate. And love to the family, and stay well, please, Mirror.
Okay, I know, Steve. When I was there with with you and Lee Clark, Lee Pine, some moments with you there the last time. I was so glad and so happy to be with you, with all the friends. I hope it's coming again in the next days. I hope to.
Well, hopefully with new owners, Mirror, it will be a lot easier to get legends from around the world back to St. James's Park. And I know that you will be welcomed with open arms by the new owners. So, hopefully we'll be able to make that happen. And perhaps there might be that connection between Mirandinha and Newcastle again. And maybe you might be able to find us somebody who can score goals in a number 9 shirt like you did. But until that day, we'll look forward to speaking again soon, Mirror.
Oh, it's can be very good, because in this case I can speak in Arabic with them, because I speak a little Arabic now as well. I hope when they come we have a chance to be together and have a nice time there.
Okay, well, that's great, Mirror. That's going to be the end of the interview now. So thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you very much, my brother. I hope to see you again in the near future. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.